Hello YouTube, this is a very quick video on a very cheap fire starter site slash I guess cheap fire. It's going to be cheap, no cooking required, multifunctional, and consists of cheese and jute. And I haven't seen anybody do this yet. I've seen a lot of videos on making waxed jute. However, I don't think you can get cheaper than this waxed jute. Or something like this. My goal was to create something that could catch fire and burn for about 30 seconds to a minute. And this is not for making a giant fire. Rather, it's to light a hexamine tab. That's it. So my thing was, if I'm out in, let's say, in a county park, or, God forbid, I'm homeless, or I'm in an urban environment, and I'm in my bug-out bag, and I just want to light a hexamine tab, I don't usually carry a lighter. It's just not one of my everyday things, but I always carry a fire steel. I have much larger ferrocerium rods in my pack that I carry, and I always have my Scout's rod on my keys. So that being said, I wanted something that could easily take a spark, and jute has always worked well for me, and I wanted something that would prolong. So I already have jute in my pack. It's very cheap. Has multiple uses, as well as being a fire starter. It's also decent cordage. This is about 10 feet or so, possibly a little bit more. And I like cheese. So, what I thought is, I don't like to cook though. And most videos will have you melting tea lights, basically, or other candles, and then dipping a whole bunch of jute into that. And that requires cooking. Well, if you're like me, you may not like to cook, and you might have roommates, and you don't want your roommates thinking you're super weird, even if you are kind of super weird. So one thing cool about this wax is it has a very low melting point. That being said, you can warm it up with your body temperature, and with that, you can make your regular bird's nest of jute. So you process it into your bird's nest. Take a little tiny dab of this, which you don't need very much. I mean, very little. And it's very soft. I mean, that right there is enough to kind of get this messed up. You might want a little bit, about double that. Put that in something like this. And I guarantee if you light it, this will take a spark very easy. You still have a lot of fibers there. But the wax will allow it to burn for 30 seconds to a minute, and that, my friends, will light a hexamine tab. So if you're out in the city or a county park and you don't want to light a major fire, but you do want, let's cook, and you're like me and you don't carry a lighter, but you do have either a smashed spark thing or a ferro rod, this will work. And it's super cheap. I mean, if you already have jute in your pack, like many people do, a couple 100 feet of this will run you about $1. This right here is the recycled wax from cheese. And it's wax. It's still paraffin wax. It will still burn. There are plenty of videos of people making this into candles and whatnot. Well, the great thing is, because it's used for cheese and it's used for food, it has a very low melting temperature, and that means you don't have to cook to wax thread. I used to tie flies for trout flies, and lots of times I would wax thread using beeswax. Well, this is even cheaper than beeswax, and all you do is you run it through once or twice. You can see the actual wax on the thread, so you know how waxed it is. And if you need to, I mean, you can take out 6-7 inches, cut it if you want to cut it. You don't have to cut it, but you can if you want. And you pretty much have your hemp wick, or in this case your jute wick, right here. and it's super cheap. So it's cheap, no cooking required. You can still use it as cordage if you want. There's a little bit bigger bundle. And it's cheese and wax. And the great thing is, you don't have to cook again. You don't have to melt this to make this. This is wax jute. No melting required. All you do is warm it up in your hand, make it a little bit soft. It's already pliable. You make it soft, you run this through it, or you can process a bird's nest. So make this into a bird's nest. Take a tiny dab of this, pretend it's gum and hair, mix it kind of together. You're still going to have a lot of fibers that are going to catch that spark really fast. And with just a little tiny bit of this, you're going to get a few extra burn seconds in it, and that will catch most things on fire. Or you can light this on fire with a fire steel, and ta-da, here's your match. There's your torch, and that will allow you to light a major fire if you're trying to do that. A pipe, you can light it at a pipe. There's your hemp wick. Or, in my case, you can use it for, let's say, your hexamine tab, to light your hexamine tab without a match.